All right, we're going to test something new out today, which is just going live while I'm doing some work on the various reviews that I do. This one's going to be the monitor review here for the XG27JCG. This is a 5K monitor with up to 180 hertz refresh rate, but that does depend on your GPU. So with the 4000 series, it's only going to do 120. You need a 5000 series GPU, which I do not have. Trying to get my hands on one for certain instances like this right here. Got some work to do for this video really quick though, in terms of tags and things like that. Let's see what we can line out on this. And then let people funnel in. Hopefully we'll see how this even goes. But today going to try to do some of my testing, maybe play a game for a second, just talk about the features here. So this one was debuted at CES. I'll move over here so I can see the back end over here. But yeah, I may do this on occasion just to showcase the review process, but also just talk about some of these products, especially the monitors, kind of more in real time. And then hopefully get feedback. So if anybody has specific questions, maybe I can actually test some of those things out. Let's see here, a couple more tags, then I'll be ready to go. What is this doing? All right. There we go. I'll be moving the camera around with this too. Well, first, let's just cover specs really quick with this thing. So here we have a 27-inch IPS panel, 5K with the resolution. That's 5120 by 2880. Here you can have 5K at the 180 hertz. You got the little asterisk there, and it says that is if you have a 5000 or 50 series GPU, 5000 series or 50 series GPU from NVIDIA, or the Radeon RX 7600 or newer to meet the requirements here. So I have a 4080 Super and it's not giving me that option. I'm capped at the 120 hertz. This is a dual mode monitor though, so this should be able to do the 330 hertz for just the regular full HD with this. And this has the extreme low motion blur too. 65% brighter for the visuals. This has 5 levels to it. Don't know that I'm going to showcase that today. Pixel density on this thing though is crazy. 218 pixels per inch. That's wild. 77% more on-screen space than a standard 4K monitor at the same size here. Does it? Yeah. I'll even be using this image in my final review because it just actually showcases it. So here you have the 4K and then you jump up and you have the 5K. Biggest visual difference that I noticed immediately is like text clarity on this thing is the best I've ever seen on a monitor. This is top notch. Quad mode. We have G-Sync here, but it has the variable overdrive 2.0 with it. And then this is the new extreme low motion blur 2. It has the 65% brighter visuals when set to the level 3 with this, which is what I actually currently have this on. And it doesn't look like it's strobing because I know sometimes that can create an issue. It's a black frame insertion thing when they're doing these ELMB modes. Now, with this, how they're doing the strip, I saw a video from Monitors Unboxed or Hardware Unboxed, and they covered this in more detail. I'm not going to cover it to the same degree that they did. They did a really good job on that. I'll probably just put a link for it. But like how they're doing the new ELMB mode here, like you can see it with this, like what's being illuminated so they can put their focus there with this is really cool. So I'll just read what this says. It features a dual backlight design with 2 LED strips and then 10 backlight zones with 5 different level settings available. This effectively minimizes motion blur and ghosting. So additionally, this offers 3 times the max peak brightness of previous generation tech by up to 65% with the level 3 there compared to competitor technologies. And then the rest of this is stuff I'm going to cover in the final review, but we do have 2 HDMI 2.1s in terms of the ports. We have the DP 1.4. You can switch this over to the 1.2 if you wanted to. This does have DSC as well. Even with DSC, by the way, this 5K resolution, I can't do the 180 hertz. And then we have a USB Type-C with this, and it does have, I don't know if it says right here, 15 watts of power. Let's see what it says. Yeah, 15 watts of power there. The claim here is a 0.3 millisecond gray to gray response time. So this has the, in terms of the variable overdrive, it has the 20 levels to it. I'll probably test it in 5 level increments like I do with my other ones because that's just so many tests to run. But with that, usually you see kind of the middle ground. Somewhere between 10 and 15 is the sweet spot. I don't know if that 0.3 milliseconds is with it at the highest. The issue becomes you get a lot of inverse ghosting with that as you actually overdrive the panel. But, and just to confirm here too, you probably can't even see it, but 120 hertz right there. And this is, I could overclock this thing, but it doesn't do anything for me there. And I do have the extreme low motion blur on. I'm gonna, how do we want to run this? Let's keep this on the extreme low motion blur. Let's play a little Destiny. I need to record this. So you guys get to see my recording setup here. So let's back this way up. All right. Oh, of course, pulling on stuff. Let's see. Oh, it's in there. I'm actually gonna have to move this back even further. Let's actually do that this way. There we go. We'll get a better view of this thing. You guys get to see how the, what's that saying? How the bread is made, or the pork is made, or the beef is made, whatever. Hamburgers are made. You get to see how this stuff is made. All right, back this out of the way. Turn on the camera, we check battery. We're at 70%, we're good. Then we need to line everything up. It's always the fun part. Essentially, in terms of spacing and things like that, I try to do a little bit closer. Make sure we're not getting any flickering. That is awesome to see. Usually with these extreme low motion blur modes, you're getting a lot of flickering. Not seeing that here on the camera with the shutter at 60. Usually what I'll have to do is I'll have to increase the shutter speed here to eliminate some of that. Or if it's already high, I actually have to drop the shutter speed down so that you're not seeing the black scan lines across the monitor when you're recording footage. I think I want this camera higher, actually. There. Good. And I use the guide, the lines, the grid on the monitor here to make sure I'm splitting the monitor, the gaming monitor, evenly. And then make sure everything's in focus. So here's the fun part with all of this. Like, I tend to show somewhat of the same footage over and over again with gaming. If you watched like all the monitor reviews, because I'm going to the stuff that's quickest and easiest to record. Because there's a bunch I need to record, because I try to showcase a ton of different games. And I want variability in that. And I may do a firefight on this. I probably will. I'll confirm our settings here too. Yep. But I'll get into stuff that's quick and easy to get into. If it takes me 20 minutes to get into a particular spot, an example of this, or it just takes long to play the mission or whatever, an example of this would be Helldivers 2. Like, I'm doing the quickest mission. I'm not doing the one where it gives you the time limit on it. It's like, hey, this thing takes about 40 minutes. I'm not doing that, right? So when it comes to Destiny, I'm just going to hop in here. Like, what's the quickest way to just showcase action? And so that's what we're going to do here. And we're going to record. And then you have stuff like this happen. That's always awesome. It's like you get that one spot and it's like, all right, cool. I showed gameplay for a second and now I got to wait to the next spot. This is blooming too bright too. I don't like that. That's more like it. And hello to everybody. A bunch of people said hi. Hi. So I'm looking at general time. How much footage do I need to record? How much am I going to use within the video? Most of my monitor reviews are a lot longer. So we're looking at 35 to 45 minutes on average. Out of that, the section where I'm covering the things that I like or don't like in the gray area stuff, that ends up being probably anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. So within that, how many different games am I hoping to actually showcase? I generally probably shoot for 8 to 12. And then within that, we're just talking about slivers. Like, how am I going to divvy that up time-wise? So try not to have super long stretches of one game. I do want that mixture, but I just want a mixture of gameplay in general, even out of the same game. Or like with this, it's like testing out, like, how much chaos can I create on screen, essentially, to showcase performance here. And we're holding pretty steady at the 120 hertz here, which is awesome. And we fluctuate down to low 100s with more stuff going on. Is there another spot? Did these guys all bail? What are they doing? Again, just causing chaos, seeing how it does. Now, this is with the extreme low motion blur mode on. It's performing great. And actually, that probably explains why we had the change in brightness level there from my other settings. So I'll probably finish this right here. And then literally, we're going to move on to another game. Throw my super, just so we can get the visual of it. And actually, oh, come on. Ooh. So now, call that. So now let's change. Let's turn off that extreme low motion blur mode. That's why. So now we're seeing. So now it's way darker. Thus, the brighter. Oh. Let's say there. Okay, make sure we're good again. Okay. And this round's actually probably done, so this may be a wash. Let that just pop off on that. Oh. Ooh. Is that it? Is there another one? Oh, that didn't help me. Dang it. Not supposed to let that happen. Oh, got more coming down. So now I have, let's just say 3 to 5 minutes per game and setting that I'm wanting to showcase, right? And that could just be like a second ago, the extreme low motion blur mode versus just regular. Let's just pop a super. Once I have that, then it's all right, I can move on. And we're about done here. Maybe a little bit of buffer on that. So if I'm more worried like the footage isn't going to come out quite like I want it to, maybe I'll do a little bit more. I guess the other component of that, sometimes you are stuck. So we look at I'll give the example of Helldivers earlier. Let's say I do get in a match, but the match is more like a 10-minute match, and I record for 6 of it, and it's like, all right, I kind of hit my quota here. I would just turn off the camera, but I'd still finish the mission, just because certain games punish you if you quit early. There we go. We'll call it right there. That was it. Certain games punish you for quitting early. Or if I play that game regularly, I'm not trying to bail on teammates. So let's look at another one. Let's just go Spider-Man 2. The brand of the monitor, this is ROG. So this is the GCG, or the XG27JCG, but this is ROG. That sounds confusing. The naming system with these, like with all monitors, it's pretty ridiculous. Which series version is it? All the numbers and then the extra letters that denote whatever it is on it. All right, let's see where we're at with our settings here. So I'll run this, and then I'm going to run. Monitor should be warm. I'll run some of my, where are you at time-wise? I'll run some of my tests for the response time. So I'll use the on-screen response time testing tool, and you guys get to see how I do that. And if there's issues with it, which there may be because this resolution is crazy high. So that not to do with the test result, but really some of the stuff that the test uses as a baseline in terms of a window size and things like that. It doesn't like when it scales to these crazier sizes with some of the monitors that I review. Okay, so we'll double check our settings here, make sure we're actually displaying what we want to display. We're good, we're good, good. All right, we're gonna call it there. So it is the 5K resolution. Does it look good? It looks good. Make sure I'm not on camera. Where are we going, bud? Oh, I hit the end of that. All right, we're going to turn around. So looking all at this is all like, I won't be using this starting footage. That's nothing. There we go. And now we can kick it off. So you have setup stuff that gets cut. Or sometimes like the footage just sucks. Like I suck at the game. So it just ends up not being good. That can happen as well. Whoa, what is going on here? And if we can get some really good like cinematic type footage, like some of this stuff, even better. Oh. Nope. Oh, come on. These big guys suck. Oh. Holy smokes, what's going on? All right, call right there. Cool. The other things to consider. if I do an Amazon influencer version of the video, you cannot show guns, you can't show violence. So I may record extra footage in a game like this because I can just show him flying around and that can be my footage. Otherwise, I actually have to go in and blur out either the whole screen or most of the screen and then hope it passes. And if I kind of get fed up with that, I may even just scrap it and just blur the whole thing because that's just easier to do. We have another wind. Come on, come on. Connect me. There we go. So like this stuff becomes easy footage to showcase. Still showcasing a lot, especially when you're looking at a monitor like this that has a really high resolution. Everything in this just looks really crisp. And that's the stuff I want to highlight. So you're looking at what are the main features of this? What are the selling points? And can you showcase that through gameplay in a sense? So high refresh rate monitors, right? Like we want to showcase it in a fast-paced game, like a first-person shooter. I'm still going to showcase that here, but I may actually focus on games like Spider-Man 2 here or RPGs. So we're looking at Cyberpunk, looking at the Elder Scrolls Oblivion remaster, things like that. I always like showcasing, especially on the PlayStation 5, Horizon, the Zero Dawn Forbidden West, such a good looking game. Oh, don't want to mess with that. Just showcasing flying right now. And I'm going to call it quits there. Just a bunch of NPCs not doing anything. All right, we're going to call it there on the gaming. So that's the gaming side of things, recording. As you can imagine, this takes a long time. So that was 2 games, and we're talking about I need to record 8 to 12. Let's exit this. So now let's look at tests. All right, let's move this thing over there. Ooh. All right, here's my testing tool. All right, so you have these sensors on the bottom. It's going to test how fast we're getting transitions on the panel between various, essentially grayscales, going from white all the way to black. Here's the front of it. So the on-screen response time testing tool. What's the channel? What's the guy's name? Of course, I got this thing tied up. What is the guy's name? I found this through a YouTuber. He makes these. I don't know why I'm forgetting the name right now. Anyways, the monitor does have to warm up, so we do want that. Let's see what we got here. That. That's still working? Yes. There we go. So now the fun stuff. So the hard part here is when you have a monitor like this, which when we're looking at the IPS panel monitors from ROG, not all of them that I've used, where they're not an OLED, they're an IPS panel. You're looking at this level of variable overdrive, which is 20 levels. And this is where I'm not going to test all 20. I go from the bottom floor, and then I go in 5-level increments. So I'll go 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. So we're going to leave that on. If you were to put this in the extreme low motion blur mode, it wouldn't actually do anything. 5 times. So variable overdrive is 0. Continue. So now the fun part, and this actually scaled good, which is awesome. Oh, come on. I'm going to find the position that this will stay there without me having to do anything. Okay. So I don't want any space. So I'm checking as I touch this. Is there, you feeling it move? Don't want it to move. Want it flush. Okay, so should check its level. There we go. All right, so you guys are going to see a bunch of flashing. This is and it says on the little screen there, running gamma test. So I'll run the gamma test, then you'll see test 1, and it'll cycle through essentially these gray scales, those transitions. It's taking a measurement of how quick it's actually happening. There's a bunch of graphs and things like that that give you more information, which is definitely beyond my knowledge base. But at the end of this, it's going to give us a nice graph of all of this information. I run the 5 tests per. You can run more if you wanted to. I've settled on 5 because I've noticed with the higher end tests, for whatever reason, it struggles with averaging the data. And every now and then when it does go through, because usually what will happen is it won't give me a readable graph. So I'll have to go through and it's weird. It's like it's not a populated fully graph. You highlight areas and click on it and then it'll kind of do it. I don't know. It's like Minesweeper. It's weird. But I think that is because there's just literally too much information that's trying to filter out. So it's struggling with making the graph. But they end up being so close that it's like, all right, 5 seems to be the sweet spot where I can still get a graph out of this and it's not going to cause any issues for me. Every now and then it does, so it might right now, I don't know. So here's my testing that I do with this. Any specific questions on the monitor too, at least while I'm on here. I can, of course, answer those. Or, actually, I mean, this thing's just going to run this test. It's just going to keep going. We're on test 3, right? So it's showcasing that. That's just going to show the live thing. So we got another product here that I'm going to be doing a YouTube short for as long as I actually like the product here. So got the Absolute M4. So it's supposed to just be a controller for your iPhone using the MagSafe there. So see that right there. So I'll just make a YouTube short on this. It doesn't need a full video. Part of determining some of that stuff too is whether or not, what's the exchange in this. So this one, I think this is like a Kickstarter type campaign. So this is a newer product. They don't really have a budget for compensation in terms of paying creators. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that at some other point, but one small little part of that is depends on the product. If you look at this product, this was a loaner. I do not get to keep this. This is brand new. They're trying to get it out to content creators. So I have a quicker turnaround with getting this video out. Don't get to keep this. Some of the other OLEDs, well, here, look at the office is always a mess. There's more monitors in the hallway, by the way. So half of those are videos that I've been compensated for my time. They don't get to tell me what to do with the video. So there's no effect on my opinion of it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. They're paying for my time and effort into that. This takes a lot of time. Just the recording. So what? We're streaming here for, I don't know, let's say we go 45 minutes to an hour. I recorded 2 games out of the 8 to 12, and I've run 1 test. And I'm going to have to run 5 of these, right? 0, 5, 10, 15, yeah, 5. That doesn't include the console stuff that I'm going to have to record. That doesn't include the in-panel settings that I actually showcase, which a lot of other reviewers do not showcase at all. So there's a lot that goes into it. Let's see what this named it as. So that was 1 test. In terms of the results here, at 0, it is slower. Now, this has a claimed 0.3 millisecond gray to gray response time, and we'll see. That could be at 20, but again, you're most likely going to get a bunch of inverse ghosting. Perceived response time. How fast is this thing? Average complete time, 13.93 milliseconds. Nowhere near 0.3 milliseconds. Some caveats to that. I'm using one testing tool. I assume the testing tool that they have in-house is far superior to this. I'm just adding more data points to this thing, right? And looking for trends as well, which is when we're looking at like the 255 out here, like you can see it's slower on one end of this, slightly faster over here. It's pretty fast in the middle in terms of the initial grays. Best 4.8, worst is 12.2. The 02550. So the black to white to black transition is 21.3. That's a full transition there, not a gray to gray. So keep that in mind. It's saying 0.3 millisecond gray to gray. What I would want to see somewhere here in the gray to gray is just, do they have a 0.3, right? RGB overshoot, 0. There's no inverse ghosting. And then it's taking these two things, it's averaging them out, and it's giving us a visual response rating here. The average rating is a 79.87. This is basically a B, like high C, low B with this. Okay, in terms of the 0 here. So we have that one complete. So then I'm going to change this up. Variable overdrive now we're going to take up to 5. Start here. Variable overdrive is 5. Continue. Make sure we're still good. We're still good. What is this doing? Come on, full screen, buddy. And then it's going to check its levels again. Okay. But with this, I'm going to change the camera over here. Get myself in a position. There we go. But in terms of compensation for reviews, like when you've been doing this for a while, like I think there should be some level of compensation because this takes so long to get a review done, especially with a monitor, depending on the test that you're doing, like how you cover that thing. And if they're paying me and my contract, if they have a contract says like, you can only say good things about, like, I'm backing out. No, because what they want when they're asking for that stuff is a commercial. I'm not trying to make you a commercial. They want a commercial for cheap. So now you have a company taking advantage of content creators. I don't agree with that at all. But looking at certain products where it's like the chairs, for example, um, especially now, it's like, hey man, you need to compensate me for my time if I'm gonna spend a week filming and like editing a video and doing all this stuff to get this out there. Like, yeah, I want compensation for my time. I can't do it for free. With that, I also don't need 20 office chairs. So I keep the ones I really, really like, and then I sell that chair when I'm done with it. So, chair review or video, really, um, $400 to $600 is what I charge. I take 100 of that, I put it into advertising, which is a selling point for them because you can boost the views. And I always tell them, it's like, no offense to you guys, but like chair review videos, it's not like a high demand topic. There's not a bunch of people looking at those videos all the time. Like usually it's like other items that are similar. It's like, all right, I need one. I'll watch a bunch of videos for a couple days. All right, this is one. I'm going to go with that one. Right. It's just not this huge influx of people all the time watching chair reviews. So there has to be some money that gets put into advertising, in my opinion, because what you'll end up there is if I put the video out with my subscriber base, I mean, a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand views off of that organically because it's a chair. And so the expectation from the company is like, this is going to blow up. It's like, dude, I'm not Linus Tech Tips or MKB, like where I have millions and millions of subscribers. So yeah, it's probably going to reach a lot of people. So I'm not particularly, I would say as an outsider, if I was looking at the emails I'm sending, nice when it comes to this stuff, because like I don't want my time to be wasted. I'm not trying to waste theirs. It's like, this is my rate. Do you do discounts? No. This is it. This is just to have access to my time. You don't get to affect my opinion. Well, we need you to sign this contract. And I look through the contract. I was like, dude, you don't get to look at the draft. You don't get to look at the script. If you want that, what you're asking for is, again, a commercial. You want a curated piece of content. In that case, you're not going to get my opinion. It's not a review anymore. You want a commercial. Double my rate. That's $1,200 to $2,000, which I've only had one company actually pay me the $1,200. And that's fine. That's great. That takes more time because they have to approve the written draft. You have to send them the first rough draft on the video. And then I told them, I was like, the 1,200 is fine, dude, but you have 3 edits and that's capped out at that. Because now you are spending a lot of time going back to do reshoots or edits or things like that. And that's just a pain. So that's the, again, more like you want a commercial side, then you have my more rate. It's like, hey, to have access to my time, because what I really want to review is this stuff. This is where I will buy these monitors myself and I'll review it on my dime. We look at the LG, the 45-inch 5K, 2K. That one's crazy because that's a 45-inch 800 R curve monitor. And then you have this thing that's a 27-inch with the same resolution. Pixel density on this thing is insane. But when you look at that one, I bought that one for $2,000 myself. How did I buy that? By doing the reviews on the stuff that I don't particularly want to do, right? So it's just how it funds the channel. And then with a lot of those products, though, when I charge the rate for the chair, let's say I get $500, I put $100 into the advertising, so now I have $400. I sell the chair for $200. I'm up to $600. I bank that, and it's like, ooh, what can I do with that in terms of buying products that I really want to review on the channel here? All right, so let's look at the results here, which I can't really see this, I guess. That's the harder part. It's not going to pick up clearly on this. Perceived response time, average complete time, 10.29 seconds, milliseconds. Best, 3.6. Worst, 11. 0.2550 is 20. Did this get faster? Absolutely. Overall, you can see that trend, it got faster, right? There's less red. And then when we look at that average complete time, I mean, even just these base numbers are lower, which means it's faster. RGB overshoot. You are starting to see numbers on here. That does not mean it will translate to inverse ghosting. So perceived response time, am I getting ghosting? RGB overshoot, am I getting inverse ghosting? Worst was 2, average was 0.43. You're not going to see any inverse ghosting here. Visual response rating, 83. Remember, we were 79, jumped up to 83. We're solid B here with this. So this is showing improvement there. And I do suspect, is that the same one? Okay. I do suspect that with this, it'll be a similar trend to the other XG monitors, where the sweet spot is really 10 to 15. And 15, you're probably going to see a lot of inverse ghosting. And at 20, it's just all inverse ghosting. It's not good. VO5. So we got that. Copy. There. Paste. Bada boom. I'm not going to do the other tests right now. I'm going to do those later because I have to go pick up a kid from school. Thank you guys for watching that tuned in. I'm probably going to start doing this a little bit more often, just showcasing the testing, just to hop on and showcase how I'm going about reviewing these products, but also giving kind of behind the scenes stuff, but also talking about like this monitor and showcasing this thing before the review. So I can hopefully field some questions about it and things like that. And then include that in the final review, which is going to be great. So thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Let's say my goal for right now is like once a week, I'll hop on here for 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. We'll see how that goes. Just depends on my other schedule and how that all is going as well. But may check back in with this thing. I got some other products coming in, so I may actually check back in with those as well. Showcase maybe some editing and things like that too. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully here within the next week, you will see me again on live.